For the last run on the Winter Wonderland, as you can see, everything is gone from the top of the track except for a few things I'm working with, and before the weekend's over I will have the track all pulled up. But what I want to run is a few oddballs that are customs or modifications and so on. This engine shell was made by Sunset Trains and Toys, and it was given to me by the owner of the company, Jerry Loman. And I have mounted underneath it a Marx 1998 switcher motor and cast chassis. And the cast chassis gives it some weight. And it also has a traction tire, which is good for pulling heavier loads. The pantographs and lights and some of the trim pieces are reproduction Lionels. But the actual cab and the frame that you see there was made by Jerry Loman of Sunset Trains. The cars that it's going to be pulling, again, are also unusual in that they're made by the U.S. Toy Train Company. They're no longer in business. They made basically a lot of specialty cars. As you'll see, they were for TCA club meet cars and for different companies. This one being a little unusual in that it's a Pennsylvania car. Brookside wine. Now the wine car comes with some wine kegs or wooden crates with wine, and the golden hardware car comes with some barrels and things like that would go inside. And my newest addition is I hadn't had a caboose to run behind all the USTTC cars, and I ended up with two of them at the same time. This one is, no, I'm not sure how it'll show up in the video, but this is nice polished nickel. And something else that he did with his company is real simple with his numbering systems. This is a 400 terminal railroad caboose, and this is a 400 terminal railroad caboose. That he just used them the same. Most of the box cars are number 424. That's a 424. That's a 424 NYC. This one happens to be a little different, and it's a 454. And that's a 427. But looking through the catalogs and that of the stuff he did make, he used the same number a lot of times. These cars are pretty good size. And they are probably, I would say, they're compatible with the large pre-war Lionel 800 and 2800 series cars. This is something that I'm creating. We're using a Marx 999. It's sized about right. And this is a set of a 4-car set of M10000s, and I've cut off the front of one and added a truck and a plug in the front end. And I'm making something that looks kind of like the Lionel Rail King. Eventually that'll get painted, probably in the same colors as the Lionel Rail King, mainly because I happen to like the colors. It's a sharp looking train with the maroon roof and the red sides, but for right now it's in the original Marx colors. Another little piece I'll run today is, this is a, for me this one is a Dinkyville trolley. It was made by EMC, but they were also made by a company called GMC. Now those of you that are familiar with these know that they've got a really funky little motor, and you push start them. They won't start up on their own. You have to give them a push, and hardly any of them work anymore. This one included, by the way. I have modified mine, and it's got an industrial rail handcar frame underneath it. And I managed to do it in a way that this screws in with the original mounting screws and everything, so I can just unscrew it and put the original motor back in. So there's no damage done to it. Not sure if it'll show up or not in here, but sitting inside is one of the figures that I removed from the handcar. So my trolley now has a driver. Another modification that I've done, just playing around. This is a American Flyer Champion shell that I got, and that's the way I got it, is just the shell. There was no motor or anything in it. I'm not sure if it was originally an electric or a wind-up, but it would have been from about 1932, I believe. And I did a little trimming with a Dremel tool, and it now has a Marx double reduction motor in it, so it runs real nice. And then just a string of 1223 red four-wheel cars. And we'll run a series of Lionel. It's all 1500 series cars. It's a 1511 locomotive. This would be the same locomotive style that you would have found in the wind-up Mickey Mouse sets. Came to me already repainted with a little bit of rust on the roof, and no motor. It was just a shell and the tender. The paint job's not very good on them. They'll get repainted one of these days. But again, I've installed a Marx motor in this one also. It was a tight fit. That's a little tiny locomotive. That's a pre-war 10-spoke motor. And then the little 1500 series cars. These were originally red frame ones, the ones that are red. Now I've repainted them because they were in such bad shape, but they were originally red frames. That one there is an original black frame, so I haven't changed the color on it. These are real cute little cars, and they're actually just a touch smaller, I believe, than the Marx 6-inch cars, but they're about the same size, close enough to the same size as the Marx. Yeah. This is actually quite a load of fairly heavy cars, so I was actually pretty impressed that this Marx motor would lug them all around, and it does a pretty good job. Under extended running or something like that at a show, I would probably run a few less cars and not have them all out. Like I said, I just got the cabooses, and for some reason the lights aren't working on them. I'll have to dig into that, but they are both supposed to be lighted. And seeing those guys run together gives you an idea of the size of those cars. The UST2C cars. Someday I'll add a light to this for the headlight. Well, folks, that's it. This is the end of the Winter Wonderland. Starting tomorrow, the track will start coming up, and then the foam insulation, and then we'll start on the expanding the bench work.